All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis, NFL edition of Unqualified Analysis. We're doing it every Tuesday, Thursday, obviously NFL today, college football on Thursday. You can follow me on the socials at CalebVUA. So today we are going through the NFL Week 11. Your boy is a little bit tired, but it is what it is at this point, man. We're gritting through it. And we're just powering through to Monday Night Football. Texans-Cowboys happening later, about an hour from when I'm speaking right this second. We'll see how that goes. Obviously not on my picks this week. I did ultimately get a 7, so I did bet it, but it's not one of the picks. Not one of the picks, my friends. So, you already know how that one went if you're listening to this, whether I'm an idiot or whether I'm an absolute genius, but not an official pick, I suppose. So, yeah. There we go. We'll keep that in the can until Thursday. But for right now, let's first off, probably should have done this before I started recording. I mean, it's too late now, but I mean, there's one game in my mind that sticks out particularly, and then looks like not a whole lot outside of that. That's, more noteworthy than the rest of the crowd. Some absolute bangers, but nothing more noteworthy than the rest of the crowd. So we'll start at the one that everyone is, obviously thinking about coming off a Sunday. The Chiefs go on the road to the Bills. This is the biggest test of the Chiefs' schedule so far, likewise for the Bills. And obviously only one team can win this thing. The Bills, the home field advantage won it out for them. 30-21, they get the win. Not comfortable necessarily, still a single-digit lead, but two-score game. Ultimately, I mean, they jumped out to the lead at halftime. 16-14, I guess it was, scoreless third quarter, and then fourth quarter they just turned on the Jets and took it to the finish line. Great performance from the Bills. They are, hey, what else can you call them? They're the best team in the AFC right now, especially with Baltimore losing another game. Obviously, you're not exactly what your record says you are necessarily, but that's going to hurt them, and the defense for Baltimore obviously scares you on that front as well. So, I mean, Bills probably the clear-cut number one team, especially after this win. It's not the end of the world for the Chiefs. Obviously, they're 9-1. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got that defense. They'll be absolutely fine. But if nothing else, this game demonstrated, even without Keon Coleman on the field, the Bills are just a better football team right this second than what the Chiefs are. Now, keep in mind, Chiefs are going to get Isaiah Pacheco back here at some point in the near future. They still have a great defense. If they can just get a little bit more juice out of the receiving core, they'll be just fine. I mean, they do still have Patrick Mahomes with that defense, so anything is possible. And they're still probably not I mean, they're still probably going to, I'm not going to say they're going to make the AFC Championship. More likely than not, they will, though. It's probably minus odds on that still. And from there, they still have Patrick Mahomes, so very clear path to the Super Bowl here. This is their first loss, but losing to the Bills like this, no other takeaway you can get out of this other than the Bills are the best team in the AFC right now, undefeated at home here in November, 5-0 on the season. I think I covered that one pretty well, all things considered. Like I said, Chiefs are getting Isaiah Pacheco back. This is going to be a different sort of animal whenever they get Pacheco back, especially with the emergence of Kareem Hunt in this backfield. Nice 1-2 punch of physicality that they can lean on down the stretch of this year. Chiefs will be just fine. Bills are just notch above right now. Okay, so we'll take this thing chronologically. Moving all the way back to Thursday, we had the Commies going on the road to the Eagles, and I'll tell you what, the under was looking juicy here for three quarters. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, we had a 10-6 ball game. The under is all but assured, but not so fast, my friend. Even so, I'm trying to do the math here. I'm pretty sure they did still hit the under. I think it was 44 total points. Moral of the story, though, I didn't even say, I'm getting real bad at just not saying the score. Eagles do get the win here, 26-18. They just turned on the Jets in the fourth quarter and got this thing humming. 20-8 outscored, and that was the game. The Commanders had the lead 10-6 going into the fourth. Eagles just turned on the gas and didn't look back from there. Saquon Barkley had an amazing game, 146 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. He's having a career year. He's everything we've wanted and more in that Eagles rushing game. Jalen Hurts had a solid game in his own right. I think he leads the league in rushing touchdowns right now. just insane stuff from Jalen Hurts. He had another one in this game. Not exactly efficient on the ground, but hey, did enough to win him the game when it was all said and done. I try to look at the stats here for Jalen Hurts. So rushing touchdown. Yeah, he's got 11. He's got 11. He's right up there with Derrick Henry right now as far as rushing touchdown leaders. 11 through 10 games is just silly from a quarterback. He's on pace for damn near 20 this year. There's some people on Twitter saying he'll be the first 2020 club member. We'll see on that. We'll see if he can maintain his health is the big thing on that front. The Eagles right now, don't look now. I mean, the Lions are clear. They're the best team in the NFL. There's no two ways about it. They just ran the Jaguars off the football field. Good chance they ran Doug Peterson out of a job this past week. We'll get to that in due time. So they're the clear number one. But as far as a number two, it's a real muddled pack in the NFC right now. I mean, the Vikings, who the hell knows what you're going to get from them on a given week, and that's coming from a fan right now. Sam Darnold is not trustworthy at the moment. He had a good game this week, but simply not trustworthy at the moment. He's just turning the ball over entirely too much. Outside of that, I mean, the NFC West seems like a pretty flat division. Maybe the Cardinals kind of turn it on late here and, kick it into the playoffs. But, I mean, NFC South is kind of typical NFC South sort of behavior. No one's really that good in that division for various reasons. So outside of that, I mean, the Eagles are looking like the second best team in the NFC right now. Obviously, record-wise, they're the second best. But they're very much, tied with the Vikings, obviously. I forget they're 8-2 with all the struggles here recently. But still, I think the Eagles are clearly playing the second best football in the NFC right now. I'd slot the Vikings right behind them at third at the moment. But they're playing their best football right now, and they seem to only be getting better at this point. The Vic Fangio defense is really coming along. They really put the clamps on this Washington offense throughout this game. And part of that might be the trends of Cliff Kingsbury in the latter portions of seasons. Who's to say on that front? But still, even commies notwithstanding, they've played some trash teams, but they've been shutting them down. They've been top 5 in basically every major statistical category throughout this little winning streak that they've been going on. They're playing great football right now. So I really like the Eagles coming out of the NFC, and especially when you got a defense that's playing as well as they are, a quarterback that can run, a running back like Saquon Barkley, who's probably the best running back in the league right now. I don't know if there's much of an argument to the contrary. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's been hurt. Nick Chubb still coming off of that ACL. Who's to say that he'll ever be what he once was before that gruesome injury that he suffered last season? Saquon Barkley, with that defense, hey, the Eagles very much have a claim to go to the Super Bowl here. They are right there in the mix. They've kind of been slept on because they played so badly early on in the season, but they are really turning it on right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm just hoping to God that we don't meet them in the playoffs. We being the Vikings, that is. I'm sorry. Unprofessional of me to use the royal we and just assume that you know what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about there. As for the commies, kind of taking a foot off the gas right now. Not Jalen Daniels. He is currently the quarterback of the Kansas Jayhawks right now, playing some good football, by the way. We'll talk about that on Thursday. As far as Jaden Daniels, though, he is starting to look a little bit like a rookie quarterback, starting to struggle. He's facing off against better defenses. That is to be expected. And right now, Terry McLaurin is the only receiver that remotely scares you right now. And he is just, he got the clamps put on him by Quinion Mitchell. There's no other way to say it. Quinion Mitchell, by the way, a guy that I should have talked about and I didn't, has been fantastic this year. Might be Defensive Rookie of the Year at the moment. He is already one of the better corners in the league, and people aren't talking about him again because the Eagles have just quietly been mowing teams down over the last several weeks, and I don't think enough people are talking about him at the moment, but they're playing great football, and they're going to be forcing people to talk about them the more that they win. As far as the commies, I don't know. Well, let's take a look at the schedule. We're we're habitual schedule watchers, that's for sure. So let's take a look at the schedule. Now it's favorable down the stretch. I'll give them that. Now they play the Cowboys twice in this upcoming week and then the last week of the season. They get the Titans, Saints, get the Eagles again, but you get them at home this time, so that's more favorable than this past matchup. The link is tough. Trust me, as a Vikings fan, I know the link is tough. And then you got the Falcons, which who the hell knows what you're going to get from them on a given week. They kind of stink, and their quarterback is not very mobile. And, we'll see. I mean, Frankie Louvu's been playing great. Frankie Louvu has been playing great, so we'll see. That seems like a game that is very winnable. With this schedule, the moral of the story is this looks like a playoff schedule. Like, they can get 3-4 more wins out of this, and they'll be just fine when it's all said and done. They're not really going to be tested a whole lot outside of that one Eagles game throughout the rest of the schedule. So they're still sitting pretty. And if, Jaden Daniels, still a rookie quarterback, if he just kind of rounds into form and doesn't hit like, these streaky sort of, I don't want to say fluky, but above the mean sort of performance. It's like a true legit, he's starting to understand the game is slowing down for him, and he's just playing really great football. If he gets into that mode, which we've seen rookies do, we saw CJ Stroud do it last year, if he gets in that mode down the stretch of the season, all bets are off. I mean, this defense is playing better than we could have expected. They're still not good, but I mean, they're not going to be a Super Bowl contender, but hey, maybe win a playoff game. I could see them getting an upset with what they've got right now. They're still in good shape. They're just, year one under a new regime. Let's temper expectations. It's good right now. Don't get me wrong. It is good right now, but let's keep in mind that this is a work in progress. Okay, so with that said, let's kind of, I was going to say we're going to breeze through some games, but buddy, I got to stop on this one. Folks. The Packers go on the road to the Bears. Unfortunately, I was watching the Vikings. I'm a single screen man when the Vikings are on. It's basically I'm locked into that performance, and nothing else matters around me at that moment. Now, is that very professional of me? Absolutely not. Probably shouldn't be doing that. But at the same time, there's no quad boxes with the Vikings and the Packers on at the same time, as far as I know. Maybe there was. I'm actually sure there was. I vaguely remember seeing one with both of them on there, but still, that's besides the point. Moral of the story: I didn't watch much of this game, but I saw the play that mattered. So the Packers go on the road here, and it is nip tuck the whole way. It's a classic Packers-Bears matchup. Comes right down to the end of the game. The Bears line up for a game-winning chip shot field goal. Ooh, excuse me, had to expel some gas there from the gastrointestinal system. Okay, so the Bears lining up for a game-winning field goal. Should be an easy make if you get it off cleanly, and then you're going home, you get a big upset. The season is alive once more. You're back to 500. Everything would have been just glorious from that point, I'm sure. It's the Bears, but let's just play in fantasy land for a second, because that's just not what happened. What happened is the Bears get the snap off. I think is Pinheiro still the kicker there? I'm pretty sure Eddie Pinheiro is still the kicker for the Bears. He kicks it. It's blocked at the line of scrimmage. Packers win the game. Zeros on the clock. 20-19, the final score. Packers are 7-3. Bears are 4-6. Bears stink. Their entire coaching staff is going to get fired. And I'm not dancing on their graves. I'm dancing on the graves of the Chicago Bears. And once again, I went over this last week, but it's worth reiterating. Hey, credit to you. You got me. You fooled me. You made me think that you weren't going to be the Chicago Bears, that you had somehow turned a new leaf. Caleb Williams is coming in. It seems like you set up a great situation around him. Yeah, Matt Eberflus, he's had an up and down coaching past. A little bit of a weird guy. Great hair though. Absolutely great hair. I mean, getting the new barber in Chicago when he got there was a great move. Nothing to be said about that except for positive things. So yeah, you got everything in place. A good defense, and that has at least kind of borne out over the course of the season. It is still a good defense, but you got a good defense. You got great offensive weapons, an offensive line, and hey, all it has to be is average. You can be average, right? They were like, just a little below average last season. You get some better pieces there on the offensive line, and you're right as rain. We thought everything was perfect. You had us all fooled, Chicago. Then all of a sudden, the season starts, and what do you know? Hey, joke's on me, man. The joke is absolutely on me. I believed you. I believed you. Then you just went through the season. You had some hope. All of a sudden, the Bears became the Bears again, and it brings a tear to my eye. It's so beautiful. I'll tell you what. Now, I do wish for the best for Caleb Williams. He's an exciting player, and I hate that he's on the Bears because I do want him to succeed, just not with the Bears. And man, it does feel real good. It does feel real good to see this, man. I'm a good guy in real life. Hey, I don't wish ill on most other people, but to watch the Chicago Bears, man, I'm a bit of a sadist to the Chicago Bears. I do love to see their suffering. I love to see their fans suffering. But, you know, I apologize for that. Am I really sorry? No, but the apology, stating it out loud, does have to mean something, I do suppose. Packers are 7-3, though. Sneaky, not bad. Second best quarterback in the division. Don't know where Jordan Love ranks in the NFC, but, you know, a little bit up and down, but still very, very good quarterback. Defense that's playing fairly well, better than it has in seasons past. It seems like they got some good players there, good coordination, all that. Hey, Packers still a playoff team. I don't think a whole lot of people are talking about them right now, but they're 7-3. That being said, they're third in the NFC North, which is still hilarious to me. Looks like the Bears are just going to be the punching bag for the division from here on out, I suppose, to keep padding people's resumes and keep pace throughout this whole thing. But the Packers are still very much in it. They got an inside, path to a playoff spot there in the wild card. Division's probably out of the reach unless something extraordinary in a bad way happens with the Detroit Lions. But the Packers still quietly very much a contender in the NFC. If Jordan Love and this offense get hot at the right time, and that's the NFL playoffs. If any of these teams, any of these quarterbacks in particular, any of these defenses, these pass rushes in particular, get hot at the right time, just totally butchered that. If they get hot at the right time, that's all you need to go all the way to the Super Bowl. The Giants showed us on multiple occasions with Eli Manning and co. All you got to do is get hot. The Packers did it once with Aaron Rodgers. That was their one championship. They just got hot down the stretch of a season, rode that wave all the way to the Super Bowl. This happens all the time. I can just keep naming off examples if I really wanted to, and if I had the catalog in my brain, quite frankly. I don't. But in modern history, just in like the last 15, 16 years that I've been watching football, countless examples of that happening. Packers are very much a candidate for that. It almost happened to them last year. We'll see if they can do it this year, this time around. All it takes, just spark a match there, week 14, 13, something around that range. Hey, you just ride that wave and see where it takes you. Very much in this thing. That's why I love the NFL playoffs. You never truly know what's going to happen. Oblong-shaped ball. It's scored in 7, 3s, 2s, a 1 occasionally. Weird things happen in this sport, and that's why we love it. Obviously, the Packers bear watching. The Bears are still, and may always be at this point, hilarious. I do feel for their fans, though, I suppose. See, there is just a little bit of warmth in this cold, dead heart of mine for these Bears fans. I do feel for you. Rooting for a bad team every year, especially when you got the Cubs, the Bulls, yuck. The White Sox, my goodness. Times are bad. Times are bad right now. I do apologize for that, but, better luck next year, I suppose. The Lions hosted the Jaguars, and boy, was this thing never close. Almost said the Jaguars won. Did not do anything of the sort. They were up 3-0 at one point. Hey, you can take that with you. You can feel good about that. Problem is they only scored 3 points the rest of the game. Didn't score in the second half. The Lions won 52-6. They're blowing them out. They're blowing NFL teams out like Alabama going on the road to Mercer. That's what they're doing. The Lions are doing that to NFL teams. That should not be happening. They are the best team in the NFL. I've said it before. I've said it many times, but it's worth saying again. They're the best team in the NFL. The fact that Ben Johnson has remained the offensive coordinator there for as long as he has created a unique situation in the modern era that you just don't see, and just an offense filled with weapons, with a coordinator that is brilliant, with a quarterback that is playing top 10 level football, and just running the system. That's all he has to do. 24 of 29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. The Lions are the best team in the NFL, and there's not really a debate on that front. They have just passed every test this season with flying Kellers. We're not talking about Helen Kellers here. We're talking about colors. Save that one weird loss to the Buccaneers, which tells you how good the Buccaneers were before they sustained all the injuries that they sustained this season. Despite that one loss, outside of that, they have just been mauling the bad teams and convincingly beating the good teams. It is, hey, I'm not wearing a hat, but hey, let me grab this one. I'll put it on real quick. Wearing my American flag cowboy hat. Hats off to Dan Campbell, man. Hats off to Dan Campbell. Throw that back there, I suppose. Don't need that anymore. Just, one part bit there. Hats off to Dan Campbell for the job that he has done there. Hats off to, I really need to remember his name. I always think his name is Brad Johnson. It's not Brad Johnson. It's Brad Holmes. The Lions GM deserves a lot more respect from me because he has done a great job. His name is Brad Holmes. He is not former Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Brad Johnson. Not the case. Absolutely not the case. His name is Brad Holmes, and he deserves a lot of credit. Everyone in that organization deserves a lot of credit. The continuity that they have maintained throughout the tenure of Dan Campbell has been incredible, and you're seeing the dividends of that, of just a great coaching staff put together by Dan Campbell that has kept the core of that staff together. It's a beautiful thing. I wish it wasn't happening in mine own division, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I hope the Vikings beat them the next time around, but the Lions are a fun team to watch. Really fun team to watch. They have a nice mix of new school principles, old school principles, kind of melded together into one. It's a beautiful thing. It's a truly, truly beautiful thing to watch. The Jaguars stink. Doug Peterson. I can't word today. I'll tell you what. Doug Peterson might be fired by the time y'all hear this. If he wasn't fired on Monday, if he was allowed to go to that press conference, I guess they're giving him another week. Not sure why. It's a foregone conclusion. He's probably the most pre-fired guy in the NFL right now that Dennis Allen is out of a job. So only a matter of time. They don't really bear talking about that much. The Vikings go on the road. Once again, was it pretty? Absolutely not. Was I stressed out for large portions of this? Yes, but the Vikings do get another win, 23-13 over the Titans on the road. Notoriously hostile road environment there in Nashville. Is what it is, I suppose. Will Levis had one long play in the third quarter, 98-yard touchdown to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. One of 2 catches for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, by the way. 117 yards and a touchdown on 2 catches. Not bad. Not bad at all on his front. That's pretty much the best offense they got all day. I mean, they were moving the ball a bit, but ultimately the defense stood tall for the Vikings. Despite that big play, ultimately played a clean game, got pressure on Will Levis, and got the win in the end. Sam Darnold played ultimately fairly clean in this game. Didn't throw an interception. Did throw one that was called back, but didn't throw an interception that counted, so that's good. He was credited with a fumble on that. It was a toss back to Aaron Jones that ultimately was mishandled. I don't really know where the fault lies there, whether that was on the quarterback or whether that was on Jones, but that was really the only turnover he was credited with. Kind of a clean game, but still, there's just a cardiac element to watching Sam Darnold play football that it's hard to get used to. I don't know that I will. You just hope that he doesn't make the critical boneheaded play at the worst possible time that he has done on several occasions throughout the course of his career. That's all I can take from this game, man. Defense is still really good. They're holding up their end of the bargain. Got good weapons on offense. I will say, the run game is a problem, and that is a big reason we're not scoring points and the big reason that Sam Darnold's getting exposed a little bit here. you can see the difference that losing Christian Darrisaw makes plainly. It is clear as day when you watch this team what not having Christian Darrisaw means, even with picking up Cam Robinson. And I told y'all I didn't expect Cam Robinson to just make everything better overnight. I was not deluded into thinking that. He was never a great running blocker, and this is kind of the fear that I had, because we rushed for 82 yards. Again, shouldn't use the royal we. It's quite unprofessional. But the Vikings rushed for 33 carries, 82 yards, 2.5 yards per carry, a touchdown. It was by Sam Darnold. So Aaron Jones ran for 2.6 yards per carry. Cam Akers, 25 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. Not a good day on the ground. And I understand this Titans defense, as far as a running defense, probably the best in the league right now. Jeff Simmons is playing great football, and it's a damn shame he's on such a terrible football team, because the offense is just that bad on the other side. So I don't want to panic about this, but the run game has just not been the same without Christian Darrisaw in there. And I can't imagine that the Lions are going to be merciful when it comes to defending the run. They have a stout run defense of their own. Now, they did lose Alex Anzalone in that game. I believe he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks. So that'll be something to watch. Interior linebacker, pivotal to their run defense. Really just their entire defense. He's a great linebacker. But outside of that, I mean, I'm worried about the running game. If we can get the running game going again, and Aaron Jones can keep having big games like that, I think we'll be fine, especially with the defense and the way that it's playing right now. I think they'll be fine ultimately. But if they don't get it going and Sam Darnold has to win us games, that's not a successful formula in the long run. You're going to run up against a team, probably the Lions, could be the Eagles even, if they go on the road to play them, which they would probably have to because the Lions are winning that division. I don't like the way the Vikings are playing right now. They've got to get the running game going, otherwise this thing is not going anywhere. Okay, the Raiders are on the road, or were on the road at the Dolphins. And hey, credit to the Dolphins. They won when they needed to. Won convincingly. Tua Tagovailoa had a big game in this one. 288, 3 touchdowns. Dolphins get the win 34-19. Brock Bowers. And this is really the only point I'm going to make on this one, because we got to get it moving at this point. I'm spending entirely too much time on these games. But one point I'll make on this game, Brock Bowers, man, 13 catches, 126 yards and a touchdown. If you rewind back to the end of the college football season going into the draft, I told y'all, if you will remember, I did tell y'all, wasn't going to go number 1 overall. Brock Bowers is the best football player in this past draft. In the 2024 draft, there was no better football player than Brock Bowers. That has borne out. He might already be one of, if not the best tight end in the entire league right now, right this second. And I know the Dolphins aren't exactly some world-beating defense, but with objectively bad quarterback play, to be putting up 13 receptions, 126 yards, that's dominance you don't usually see in a rookie tight end. And that's the thing too. This guy is a rookie. Tight ends have maybe the biggest learning curve and improvement curve of any position on the football field, especially on offense. They're not usually plug and play type of guys like Brock Bowers has been. I'm telling y'all, I'm getting on this train early. Kelsey is past his prime substantially. Trey McBride is up there. But Brock Bowers is the best tight end in the league, I think, at this moment. And maybe this is just reactionary coming off a big performance. He's had a string of big performances throughout the course of this rookie season. He's a quiet candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. And the fact that he's quiet probably works to his detriment. But 700 yards, 3 touchdowns, 70 catches already this year. Over the course of the last, I don't know, we'll say... We'll take it the last 4 games. The Raiders have been terrible. Actually, you know what? We'll bump it out to 6. Why not? So going back to Denver, this is all in the midst of a losing streak, by the way. They lose all of these games I'm about to read off. Brock Bowers starts off at Denver, goes 8 for 97 with a touchdown. They lose that game 34-18. All at home versus Pittsburgh, 9 receptions, 71 yards, doesn't get a touchdown. They lose 32-13. At the Rams, 10 receptions, 93 yards, does not get a touchdown. They lose 20-15. Versus Kansas City, 5 receptions, 58 yards. Bit of a down game there. It is what it is. 0 touchdowns there, unfortunately, but good yard per catch average, I do suppose. Then they're at the Bengals. They get killed 41-24. He still gets 5 catches, 45 yards and a touchdown. And then this past week, obviously, the breakout game, 13 receptions, 126 yards and a touchdown. I'm getting on the bandwagon early. He's had 2 different games with double-digit catches this year. He's second in the league in receptions right now. Best tight end in the league as a rookie. I'm not uncomfortable saying that right now. He has a different element than any other tight end in the league right now with what he brings to the table. Boys and girls, I saw that man at Georgia take jet sweeps to the house. Not just one, I'm talking multiple for long touchdowns. One of them may or may not have been against the football team that I root for in Mississippi State. You don't see tight ends do that. He just qualitatively, quantitatively, however you want to put it, he is different. He is a different player, and for my money, he's the best tight end in the league right now. He's a special football player. But hey, credit to the Dolphins, 4-6. Sneaky not out of the playoff hunt. If Tua stays healthy, hey, I said I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on this game, but why not schedule watch a little bit? So they got the Patriots. That should be a win. Should being the operative word there. Then at the Packers, probably not a win. Jets at Texans, 49ers at Browns at Jets. A lot of winnable games here. So what do you think? Got to get probably 10 wins to get him a playoff spot. So I'm counting here. Probably win against the Jets both times. So that's 2 right there. You add the Browns in there. That's 3. Add the Patriots in there. That's 4. So you got to win. Kind of tough. You do have to win 2 of either the Packers, Texans, 49ers. You got to win 2 of those games. So the Dolphins, still an outside path to the playoff. But hey, even if you win one of those games, 9-8 still might get you in. They're still very much alive. Do I believe in them? Good Lord, no. But it bears mentioning that they are still alive in the playoff race. They bear following to a certain extent. Now let's get this show on the road and keep it moving. My least favorite pick of the week that ended up cashing, the Rams went on the road to the Patriots, and it was not pretty. It was everything that I was afraid of, and the Patriots almost came back and made a game of this thing in the end, but the Rams do get the win 28-22. Matt Stafford throws for 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams goes for 86 yards. Does not get a touchdown, unfortunately, for my fantasy team. Still won. Doesn't really matter. Puka Nacua goes for 123 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp gets 2 touchdowns over 100 yards. The numbers look good for the Rams, but this was a scary game. And hey, the Rams very much still alive in that NFC West. Patriots still stink. Solid enough performance from Drake May. You got to be happy with what you're seeing there now as a Patriots fan. You just hope they do right by him going forward, and that's yet to be seen, but we'll keep tabs on that. But hey, Patriots, you're terrible. This is probably best case scenario for this team. For this year, I would say, for the year of 2024, this football season. What you really wanted was to see some good flashes from your rookie QB. Hopefully you see some growth down the stretch here, but ultimately finish with a terrible record, have a really high draft pick, so you can draft the best offensive lineman that is available, at least I would assume, in this upcoming draft. So, hey, as far as the plan goes, you're doing all right, Patriots. Just grit and bear through this season, and let's hope you hired the right guys to get this thing built up over the course of the next couple of years. Rams, I'm not quite as high on them as I was a week ago today, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay, the Saints win a sad matchup, 35-14 over the Browns. Jameis Winston throws for almost 400 yards, but alas, not enough. Taysom Hill, the Storm and Mormon, the man with a plan, and the man privy to God's plan. Didn't know where I was going with that. Don't think it ended up in a great place, but it is what it is. 3 touchdowns, 138 yards on 7 carries on the ground for Taysom Hill. He scored 45 points in fantasy this week. In cruel fashion, the best team in my fantasy league just started Taysom Hill because his tight end was on a bye. He needed a flex guy in that spot. Just threw Taysom Hill in there. 45 points. Gets the win this week, basically because of Taysom Hill. His team is I believe 10-1 now, and he's a dickhead. I love him, but he's a dickhead. He's a dickhead for having a team as good as his is. He's also the guy that had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase last week, and Mark Andrews. Real asshole, this guy. Love him, though. Love him to death. The Browns are real sad, and there's going to be some changes after this season. We'll see what those changes amount to. Feels like Kevin Stefanski might be on the ropes here for his job. We'll see with Andrew Berry. This team should not be as bad as they are. I know they've had a bunch of injuries, but they should not be nearly as bad as they have been this year. And part of that is Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun's not there anymore. Jameis Winston had a solid enough game, and you still got worked in this game. The defense in particular got worked. Just has to be better, and I'm sure there are going to be changes this offseason. Just a matter of what those changes will be. Hey, Saints, all the credit in the world to you. 2 straight wins under Darren Rizzi. Not bad. Not bad at all. So, hey, you hope the Rizzler keeps it going. The Saints started 2-7 for a reason. I'll just say that, and they traded Marshawn Lattimore away. I can't imagine that's going to help them down the stretch. But, hey, we'll see. 4-7 in a bad division. Weirdly enough, still not out of it. As crazy as that is to say, still not out of it because it's the NFC South. So the Colts go on the road to the Jets, and the Jets continue to be absolutely terrible. Anthony Richardson comes back, has a downright serviceable game, 272, 66. Hey, completed 2/3 of his passes, 66.7% completion percentage, 1 touchdown through the air. I believe he scored at least 1 on the ground. Look at that. It was 2 on the ground. I know because I faced him in fantasy in my other league, and no one cares about my fantasy. No one cares about my fantasy team. Easy for me to say. God. My nose is always itchy. But the Colts get the win, 28-27. The Jets are 3-8. Their season's pretty much over. Aaron Rodgers looks old, is old. It's over. They got to blow the whole thing up. Everyone needs to be fired. Strip it down for parts. Trade your best players this offseason. It's over. It's done. Good night. Get Aaron Rodgers out of there. Don't even care if he wants to come back for another season. Ain't going to be with the Jets. It's over. Blow it up. It's done. The experiment, I mean, it's been over for several weeks at this point, but it's definitively over now at 3-8. They're going to have to win every single one of their next 6 games in order to get even a snowball's chance in hell at the playoffs. It's just not happening. So, yeah. I'm not saying give up, but wouldn't be a bad idea to give up if you're the Jets right now. They bear no mention whatsoever. It's all drama, no substance. That's New York football for you. It doesn't matter the team. That's New York football, I suppose. The Colts, though, 5-6, AFC South, that's just not very good. I guess the Texans are kind of running away with it at this point, but the Texans are fallible as well. We'll see. They're not a very good football team. They've been fairly disappointing. Kwity Paye had 2 sacks in this game, so credit where credit is due there. Hey, Leatu Latu, hey, good to see you, man. Forgot you were even alive, quite frankly, but hey, had a good game in this one. You got a sack. Good for you. Maybe that becomes a trend down the stretch. Hopefully he rounds into form. I expected much more of him this season, quite frankly, but he's just not really been up to snuff as of yet. Again, time to improve that, but they're 5-6. They're very much in this thing. In an AFC that is quite top-heavy at the moment, certainly not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. Hey, if Anthony Richardson can play like this throughout the rest of the season, they're cooking with gas, I'll tell you that much. The defense has got to kind of round into form a little bit here down the stretch, but hey, if Anthony Richardson can play like this, there's worse quarterbacks to have, and hey, I don't expect him to do this on a weekly basis, but coming off of a benching, this is what you want. This is what you want for him to respond. I believe did turn the ball over once, fumbled another time. That's a problem, but that only turnover in the game accounted for 3 touchdowns. That's good movement in the right direction if you're talking about Anthony Richardson's development. We'll see if it continues that direction. I tend to believe in Shane Steichen. Hopefully that belief is not thrown asunder by exterior factors, I guess, or just by Shane Steichen not being that dude. Who's to say? Who's to say? Okay, what do we got next? Ravens-Steelers. This one was a classic Ravens-Steelers game. Just general rule of thumb. Well, first off, try not to bet the over in an AFC North game unless it is the Ravens-Bengals. Then that's a fun over. Might as well bet that one. I mean, no harm done on that one. But generally, just don't bet the over in the AFC North. Especially do not bet the over in the Ravens-Steelers. This one was an 18-16 slugfest. Came right down to the end. Justin Tucker, I believe. Now, I'm going to have to take a look at this. Get my bearings straight real quick. So... yeah, I mean, the Steelers, they didn't score a touchdown in this game, but ultimately it was never really that close throughout this one. Now, granted, Baltimore did get a touchdown in the first half that made it look a little bit better on a good drive there in the first half. Credit where credit is due. Okay, so it was close throughout the course of this game. I lied. I'm a liar. I apologize for that. So just a classic Ravens-Steelers game. I don't know what I was spewing there, but still, the Steelers did just kind of feel like they were in control for most of this game. And granted, I didn't watch much of it. I did catch portions. I was following it throughout the course of the 1 o'clock slate while I was watching the Vikings game. But it just felt like they were moving the ball. They just weren't punching it in. I mean, they got close enough to score 6 field goals. Ultimately got the win 18-16. Russell Wilson did not have a good game. No one on the offense really had a great game, frankly. They moved the ball enough to get them in position to score, and they didn't really turn the ball over outside of that one interception from Russell Wilson. Conversely, though, that's really where this game was won for the Steelers, was the turnover margin. Generally a pretty telling stat whenever you look at it after a game, but Lamar Jackson had an interception. Derrick Henry and Isaiah Likely both lost fumbles in this game. That's where the game was won. 3-1 turnover differential in a game as close as this one that's as physical and defensive. That's how the Steelers win this game. 18-16. They're 8-2. Kind of starting to run away with this division. I believe they're 2 games up on the Ravens now, who's second in the division. All alone at the top at the moment. Steelers are just a really solid football team. And Russell Wilson doesn't even necessarily have to play good. He just got to make a couple big plays throughout the course of a game, just kind of feed George Pickens. If the running game is just kind of average throughout the course of a football game, you're cooking with gas at that point. They started incorporating a little bit more of like a Justin Fields package in there, kind of utilizing his legs, utilizing him as an offensive weapon. The Steelers aren't great on offense, but all they have to be is average when their defense is as dominant as their defense is right now. And they didn't get huge numbers, not big sack numbers in this game, but caused 3 turnovers. TJ Watt got a sack. 2 tackles for loss, was the dominant force that he always is, quite frankly. And they just put this game to bed. Now, if the offense just plays average, that's a defense that can take them as far as they want to go. Now, I don't necessarily take them seriously as a Super Bowl contender just because they don't have that elite top-level quarterback like the other contenders do. Even Baltimore does in their own division. But would I be shocked if they upset some teams in the playoff, got all the way to the AFC Championship game? Not really. Not really, because of who they've got on that defensive side of the ball. Very wide open year right now. Some clear lead runners, I guess you could call them. Clear front runners in the league at the moment. But I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of parity this year. It is going to be an entertaining playoff stretch whenever we do get to that point. Boy, the weather is getting cold. The football is starting to really, really matter. Oh, you can feel it in the air, ladies and gentlemen. You can feel it in the air. Okay. That being said, let's keep it moving from there. Broncos beat the hell out of the Falcons. We got to push on that one because they won 38-6. Just, man, just the next time I want to place my hard-earned money on the Falcons in any shape, form, or fashion, just smack me across the face. Just don't let me do it. It's just a fool's errand. I'm lucky to get away with the money that I invested in the first place. Boy, they stink. The Broncos, though, they're playing some good football. And Bo Nix, don't look now. He's playing maybe rookie of the year level football at this point. 307 yards in this game, 28 of 33, 4 touchdowns. He wasn't checking the ball down either. He was throwing some lasers down the field, accurate passes, starting to look like the Bo Nix that we saw at Oregon. He's gotten better every single week, almost without fail this year. He has gotten better throughout the course of this season. All the credit in the world to the coaching job that Sean Payton has done with him this year. All the credit in the world to the player, Bo Nix, on his improvement. We saw it once before in college. It looks like we're seeing it here in the NFL. Man, he is playing great football. He went from playing just terrible, laughingstock-worthy football to probably the best of any of the rookie quarterbacks right now, including Jaden Daniels, who's kind of fallen back toward the pack a little bit. Bo Nix is playing better than them all right now, and it's really impressive to watch. Now, the Falcons aren't world beaters on defense by any stretch of the imagination, but credit to Bo Nix for the way that he is playing right now. He has come along substantially from the start of the season, and hey, don't look now. Broncos 6-5 in an AFC that's kind of top-heavy this year. And look what they play down the stretch. I mean, they do play the Chargers and the Chiefs in the division, so we'll give them that. But Raiders, Browns, Colts, obviously at the Chargers, then at the Bengals, then at the Chiefs to end off the season. So tough stretch to end off the year, but they can reel off 3 straight wins, get to 9-5. All you got to do is win one of those last 3. The Bengals looks ripe for the picking, especially since the Bengals cannot win, are incapable of winning at their own home field. So that second to last week of the year, get you to 10 wins. Probably don't win the other 2, given how the others are playing right now. We'll talk about the Chargers in a second. Boy, am I high on the Chargers. I got some takes on the Chargers at the moment. But, hey, the Broncos, not bad at all. Much better than I thought that they would be. All the credit in the world to Sean Payton. All the credit in the world to that defense that's just playing nasty football. Maybe the best defense in the entire league right now. They're certainly playing like that. Tennessee is probably the statistical best defense, but I don't know if there's a team that's been more dominant on the defensive side of the ball than the Broncos right now, except, oh, wait, there's one in their own division, the Chargers, that are playing some inspired football in their own right. Maybe a little bit of a paper tiger there, but we'll put a pin in that for right now. Broncos, bear watching, playing really good football. A matchup of now 2 6-5 teams between them and the Falcons. Boy, are they different vibes at 6-5 right now. I'm loving the way the Broncos are playing. The Seahawks go on the road to the 49ers, and I'll tell you what, Geno Smith did not play a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but when they needed him in the biggest moment, he gets a clutch drive at the end of the game, drives the Seahawks all the way down the field, and he not only gets the game-winning touchdown, he gets it on his own accord, runs it in from, 15, 20 yards out, something like that, gets a touchdown. Seahawks win the game 20-17. What a win when they really, really needed one. They were in the dumps after this recent stretch of games. They get a big-time win in this one. They're 5-5. There's a logjam at 5-5 in that division right now, and the Cardinals, who are leading the division, I believe, are only 6-4. So razor thin margins in that AFC West. Who the hell knows who's coming out of it? I thought the Seahawks were dead in the water. All of a sudden, they beat the 49ers. Are the 49ers dead in the water at this point? Winners first. Let's give the winners their flowers. Geno Smith, like I said, not good, but he's just a clutch player. No two ways about it. He reminds me a lot of Eli Manning, just a lot more mobile. Has that sort of clutch gene to him, though, that maybe he'll be inconsistent throughout the course of a game, but down 3 points, 1-score game, whatever you want to call it, 2 minutes, ball in his hands, he's absolute money. no two ways about it. I believe since 2020 or something like that, he leads the league in fourth quarter game-winning, go-ahead, tying, whatever the fuck you want to call it, drives. I think he has like 8 such drives over the course of the last couple of years. Just a great clutch player. No other way to put it. Great clutch player. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I got to give him his flowers. He's playing fantastic football this year. This Ryan Grubb offense has really benefited him throughout the course of this season. He had 10 receptions for 110 yards in this game. Just playing really good football. The defense has got some things to figure out, but holding the 49ers to 17 points in this one. Ricky Pearsall without a catch in this game. That's a real achievement in and of itself. So, hey, maybe the Seahawks can turn this thing around down the stretch. 10-7 likely wins you this division. May the best team win down the stretch. It's going to be absolute carnage in the NFC West throughout the home stretch of the season, and I can't wait to watch it, quite frankly. It's an unpredictable division, and it fills me with unbridled excitement. I'll just tell you that right now, unbridled excitement. The 49ers, though, buddy, they're in trouble. They are in real trouble right now. They're not playing real good football. The defense has just not been playing well. They're not clicking at the moment. Nick Bosa did play in this game. That obviously was a factor, but he obviously not healthy. The defense just not playing well, not playing together. They sustained more injuries in this game as well. The offense not clicking. Christian McCaffrey just not looking like that same dominant force. Offensive line not doing him any favors. Trent Williams isn't really healthy. Obviously, Ayuk is out for the year. Ricky Pearsall, who you're needing to step up in a big way, is not doing that right now. Now, he had a solid game the previous week, so give him some grace, give him some leeway here as he kind of rounds into shape, but he's not really panning out right now. Kittle has characteristically not been particularly healthy this year. This time it was a hamstring that kept him out. 49ers are in trouble right now, man, and especially all those factored in, that's before you even take into account their upcoming stretch of games is at the Packers, at the Bills, they play the Bears, the Rams, at the Dolphins, Lions, at the Cardinals. I don't know if the 49ers are going to make the playoffs, man. They're going to have to really kick it into top gear to get this thing to the finish line. They're going to have to win the division. I do not think they're going to have a good enough record to get an at-large bid, a wild card bid, as it were, for this postseason. I think they're going to have to win this division, and I just don't know with what they have left on the schedule. I mean, I'm seeing Packers, Bills, I don't think they're going to win either of those games. Rams, I don't know if that's a win either. At the Dolphins, I don't know if that's a win at that point in the season, especially if Tua is healthy. They're playing better football. Lions, forget about it. They'll probably lose that one by double digits, even though it is at home. Cardinals, I don't really think they win that one either unless the Cardinals kind of collapse down the stretch. It's a uphill climb for them to even make the playoffs this year, and I definitely did not think I was going to be saying that about the 49ers, but lo and behold, here we are, and they're not that good of a football team right now, and they still show flashes of what they have been in the past, but they're just not quite the same as they have been. It's a little bit sad to see, for sure. You wonder if maybe the window is closing rapidly on them, but hey, they still got all the players coming back next year. Just doesn't feel like it's in the cards for them. Now, they do still bear following because they're very much in a playoff hunt, and based on what they've done in the past, if they get hot at the right time, like all of these teams, they could still make a run at this thing. But as far as a serious contender based on merit right this second, I don't think they're anywhere close to that category. They're just kind of in the hunt. They're just trying to get in the dance right now. That they're just looking for a ticket. And that's what this 49ers team is right now. We'll see how they improve it in the offseason. It is what it is at the moment. Already talked about the Chiefs Bills, so all we have left to talk about is the Bengals at the Chargers. And I'll tell you what, at halftime and coming out of the half, this thing looked done. 24-6 at the half. The Chargers were in complete control, dominating the game. They get a field goal coming out of halftime to make it 27-6. This game looked over, done. No reason to even think about it down the stretch. Then all of a sudden, Joe Burrow started playing like Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins started to play likewise. And this game got real interesting down the stretch. The Bengals outscored the Chargers 21-7 down the stretch in the latter half, the latter portion of the third quarter and into the fourth. Almost got this thing to overtime. It was 27-27 late in this thing, and then Justin Herbert, up and down game, played spectacular at times, started the game spectacularly, stumbled down the middle portion of the game, then ultimately, when you needed a play, Justin Herbert was just that dude. Got him all the way down the field, got the touchdown. J.K. Dobbins scores the game winner for his second touchdown of the game. It's over. Los Angeles Chargers 34-27. A lot higher scoring than I expected. Definitely expected the under to hit in this one. But the Chargers are 7-3 at this point. Bengals at 4-7. Basically, they're going to have to win all of their remaining games. They got the Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers again. You can maybe afford to win or to lose one game and maybe get an AFC wild card. You'd probably get in at like the 7th seed at that point if you are so lucky. Basically, you're just going to have to split the series with the Steelers, and then you're going to have to win every single one of those other games. And for most of them, that's doable, but Broncos, that's a tripping point. They could very easily lose twice to the Steelers down the stretch. It's not over, but it's on life support. We're discussing options with the family right now for the Bengals. The Chargers, though, man, buddy, this Chargers team. Now, they did get kind of exposed in this game facing off against a really good quarterback, and we're going to have to wait and see on how this defense performs against Lamar Jackson and the Raiders this upcoming week. Next Monday night, actually. Sorry, had to think there for a second. But I'll tell you what, look at this schedule down the stretch. Ravens, kind of a toss-up. You get them at home, so that's a plus. If it was an M&T Bank, not a snowball's chance in hell that they win that game. But at home, kind of diffuse the Ravens population a little bit. Inject some of your own fans in there. You're never getting like a true home field advantage when you're with the Chargers at this point in time. But still better than the alternative. So it's kind of a toss-up there on that one. You got the Falcons. Probably a win, even though you're on the road. At the Chiefs, then you got the Buccaneers, Broncos, Patriots, Raiders. Very much, I mean, this Chargers team right now, I could really ultimately see them win. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they won every one of their last games. Now, to do it all in succession would be very impressive and would ultimately end them off on like a scorching winning streak. Now, if they won all these games, that would be shocking. Now, if they won any one of those games where it's kind of a toss-up, like on the road with the Chiefs, the Ravens, you can even throw the Broncos, kind of the Buccaneers as well to a certain extent in that. Winning any one of those games does not surprise me in the least. And I think they go at least 500 in those 4 games upcoming that I just listed there. This is a playoff team right now. And they're going to be tested down the stretch here with some of the quarterbacks that they're going to be facing. I mean, by God, even Bo Nix down the stretch by December 22nd, who knows what Bo Nix is going to be playing like. That could be a real force to be reckoned with as well. But you're facing Patrick Mahomes, you're facing Kirk Cousins, you're facing Ravens, you're facing Baker Mayfield. And then, after Baker Mayfield, you're talking about the next 5 games coming up. You're facing solid quarterbacks at the very least that's going to test you. If they acquit themselves well and this Broncos defense ends up being legit, now you don't have great receivers. You do have Ladd McConkey that you can rely on. Will Disley's coming around in a big way. You got that quarterback. You got an elite, well, not elite offensive line, but you got 2 solid tackles, a good offensive line, good backfield, a winning culture already seems like, with a proven winner at head coach, good coordinating. When you got that quarterback with all of those pieces around you, hey, the Chargers, I don't know how many people are saying it right now. Sneaky contenders in the AFC. Don't be shocked when this is all said and done. There is no, I'm not sure there's a streakier quarterback in the entire league right now than Justin Herbert at the moment. If he just lights a match, and I've said this about a million different quarterbacks, a million different teams at this point in the episode, he just lights a match, he can get hot in a way that just about no other quarterback outside of the elite quarterbacks in this whole league can get hot. And if he does that with this team, don't be shocked at all if we're looking here in February and the Super Bowl matchup happens to feature the Chargers of Los Angeles as one of the participants. Hey, don't be shocked. I'm not saying I'm betting on that to happen. I'm just saying it would not shock me in the least if it happened. Not one bit. This is a really good Chargers team with a really, really good quarterback. And all it takes is just a little spark. They're already on a 4-game winning streak. We might be seeing a run materializing before our very eyes much sooner than we would have anticipated under this new regime with the Chargers. Hey, all the credit in the world to the coaching staff there. Okay, we'll just keep moving from there. And that's actually the last game. So with that said, let's take a look at the upcoming games. I got 4 bets to add tonight. Really like the board this week. Like the board as of right now. So I've got 1, 2 to add in the NFL. And we'll see if these lines have moved since I've even bet them. So starting off on Thursday night, won't have to wait long for the first pick. It is right off the bat. Steelers are at the Browns. Steelers are favored by 3.5. This is a terrible Browns team, and Mike Tomlin might be the best coach in the entire league. He wins games in this situation. Same sort of logic that I have, same sort of philosophy that I have with Jim Harbaugh, I have here with Mike Tomlin. Favored by 3.5, give me the 3.5. I am taking the Steelers in this game. I just think the running game is going to play very well in this one. I think the defense for the Steelers, especially that pass rush, is going to harass the Browns. Give me the Steelers minus 3.5. I feel very comfortable about that pick. Over-under is 35.5, 36.5, depending on where you look at it. Gross. Just gross. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't bet the over. Just out of principle, see the previous corollary I had with the AFC as far as, just don't bet the over. Don't do that to yourself in the AFC North. Okay, the Chiefs are at the Panthers. Favored by 11 in most places. Still get a 10.5 as of right now over at FanDuel. I don't trust the Chiefs enough, quite frankly, at this moment. They just lost a game. They've not really looked dominant or impressive over the course of the last several weeks. Staying away from this one. Panthers, people forget, 3-game winning streak. Looks like they're getting Jonathan Brooks back this week as well. You never know. You never know. The Chiefs will probably win this game. I hesitate to bet either way on this one. I'm certainly not putting my hard-earned money on the Carolina Panthers, so I'm staying away from this one. Over under 41.5. Probably lean the under, but not betting that. Vikings are at the Bears. Vikings favored 3.5. Pretty much across the board. Obvious lean to the Vikings, but hey, look, even if I didn't have my own moral quandary with betting the Vikings, I wouldn't bet on this game, man. I don't trust either of these teams to hold up their end of the bargain at the moment. The Bears are the Bears, need I say more. And the Vikings, man, Sam Darnold has not been trustworthy over the last several weeks. I don't trust this running game against a really solid front seven for the Bears. This is a tough road game for the Vikings. Make no mistake about it. The Vikings could very easily lose this game, and I would not be shocked one bit. It would be a very on-brand thing for them to do. I'm staying away from this game. Obvious lean to the Vikings, but that's all bias. No logic whatsoever. That's just all bias on my front. I'm worried about this game. Over under 39.5. I'd still probably lean the under. These are two really good defenses, two offenses with flaws. So I would lean the under there. Obviously too low for me to bet, but I would lean the under. Commies are favored by 10 in most places at home versus the Cowboys. You get a 9.5 as of right now over at FanDuel. Commanders have just not looked great over the last couple of weeks, and the Cowboys are a bad football team at the moment. Do not get me wrong. They are stinky garbage at the moment. But I still just... That's a lot of points for a Commanders team that has not acquitted itself very well over the course of the last couple of weeks. So lean to the Commanders. Certainly not betting on the Cowboys, but I do not trust the Commanders enough to bet on them at the moment. So I'm staying away. Over/unders 45.5, 44.5. Looks like you can get over at FanDuel at the moment. I mean, I would lean the over, but I don't trust the Cowboys to hold up their end of the bargain with Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, whoever it happens to be at quarterback. So, yeah, staying away from that. Staying away from that for sure. Dolphins are 7-point favorites versus the Patriots. Really thought about it. The Dolphins are just going to have one more dominant win for me to really jump back on the bandwagon as far as bets against bad teams are concerned. I'm staying away. Heavy lean to the Dolphins, but... show me one more time. That's where I'm at right now with the Dolphins. Show me one more time. Over/under is 46 in most places. You can still get a 45.5 over at FanDuel. Excuse me. 46.5 if you want to hit the under over at ESPN. I'd actually lean the over in this game. I think Drake May has been playing some sneaky good football at the moment. Dolphins offense kind of rounding into shape. Patriots defense not playing great. There's a recipe here. There's a scenario where some good points are scored in this game. So bit of a lean, but staying away from it on that front. So the Texans are favored by 7 versus the Titans. Looks like you can get 7 over at Bet365 and Caesars at the moment. It looks like it's 7.5 pretty much everywhere else. I don't like the half point. I hate betting 7.5s. I hate betting 10.5s. I mean, any of those like key numbers for football, I don't like betting 3.5s either, but I like it a little bit better because 4 is also kind of a common number on the winning margin there as well. I just don't like those half points because that's the side that the book wants you to bet. They want you to bet that minus 7.5. If I could get a 7 more consistently across the board, I'd consider it. It kind of hinges on how the Texans do on this Monday night game, I would say. I think that'll kind of tell the tale of how I want to bet in this game, but it'll probably also dictate the line movement going forward. So we might revisit this game. It feels like it's a no bet, ultimately. Heavy lean to the Texans for sure. Just kind of waiting to see what I see on Monday night as far as their performance to make any sorts of judgments on this game one way or the other. Not betting anything over 7, though. Just can't bring myself to do it at this point. Just the Texans are going to have to be dominant on Monday night for me to lay anything more than 7 on them at this moment. The Lions are 7.5, 8-point favorites. Looks like it's 7.5 in most places, 8 over at MGM. They're on the road at the Colts. This is another one I feel like we're just going to have to revisit. I don't think the Colts are a bad team, but I think the Lions are a great team. And that Colts running defense is not going to do anything, I don't think, with this Lions running game. We'll check back on it. Heavy lean to the Lions at minus 7.5 right now. We'll check back in. Not ready to pull the trigger at this very moment. Over under 50.5. And I think that speaks more to the Lions offense than it does to the Colts offense here in this one. But 50.5, fun over. That's where we would categorize that as a fun over. Worth considering the under at the very least, but I don't feel like, raining on anyone's parade there on that one. So probably stay away from that one as well. Bucks are at the Giants. Giants favored by 5. Not Giants. Bucks favored by 5 in most places. Also, by the way, the Giants are benching Daniel Jones. Probably should have mentioned that one earlier, but yeah, sorry. Giants are benching Daniel Jones. Drew Lock is starting. So, hey, maybe this line would have been longer if Daniel Jones was starting. I don't know. This is a cap-related decision, though. They're saving money down the line. If he doesn't get injured, I don't expect Daniel Jones back in the game unless Drew Lock gets hurt or he is just utterly horrendous down the stretch of this season. In fact, they're starting Tommy DeVito this week, so that should tell you where Daniel Jones lies on the depth chart going forward. Either way, though, Buccaneers favored by 5 in Tommy DeVito's first start of the season for him. Heavy lean to the Bucs. The Giants are a hapless franchise that are probably cleaning house after this season. Probably starting fresh with a fully new regime, new quarterback, new everything in town. It kind of sucks for Brian Daboll and crew that they didn't get their own quarterback to kind of start with. But hey, 3 years in, the team is terrible. At the very least, you should have been able to build a team around Daniel Jones, and you couldn't even do that. Let Saquon go in free agency. Hey, just worth underlining again, you backed the wrong horse. Should have paid Saquon, should have franchised Daniel Jones. You probably wouldn't be in this situation, but here we are. Here we are, folks. Here we are. Either way, Buccaneers -5. I lean them. Over-under at 41.5. How about this? I lean the over in this game. Kind of a low number. Buccaneers can score some points. Hey, Malik Neighbors, don't know what his status is. He's kind of been on, off the field. Had some concussion issues, which you should be worried about. Kind of been nagging concussion issues, which is not the kind of nagging issues that we can live with at the end of the day. Got to get that figured out. But I could see the Giants scoring enough points to hit this over. I'm not going to bet it, but something to consider. Just a little morsel to put out there for you. Broncos are 4.5, 5.5 point favorites. Kind of a wide range of numbers throughout the sports books here. Against the Raiders on the road, heavy lean to the Broncos. This is one that we might have to revisit down the line. I like the way the Broncos are playing right now, man. Great defense. Okay enough running game. A rookie quarterback that is playing out of his mind at this moment. I'm heavy lean to the Broncos. I like the Broncos right now, but we'll revisit that. Over-under is 41 in most places. You get 41.5 over at FanDuel. Under on this one. This one just feels like an under all the way. First off, the Raiders not being able to score. The Broncos just kind of suffocating teams with that defense. Just feels like an under in that one. How many games? Jesus Christ, there's so many games this upcoming week. My goodness. 49ers are at the Packers. Good mix of 1.5s and 2.5s out there in favor of the Packers. You'll just have to shop around on that. Lean on the Packers. Might revisit this one, but I'll probably ultimately stay away. Over-under is 47.5. I think that number's just about right. No real lean there on that one. This is my second pick of the night, the second NFL pick that I am adding this week. So the Cardinals are at the Seahawks. This game is a pick'em. I understand the Seahawks just got a big win. I get that. That's cool. If you're going to give me a pick'em, that one's over at Caesars, by the way. That's the best line. You're getting 1.5, 1 everywhere else. Caesars is at a pick'em. I moved on that. Give me the Cardinals in this game. I just feel like they're going to win. I just feel like the Cardinals are the cream of the crop in that division. I think they're ultimately going to close this thing out. It's unclear who's going to come out of the division, but based on merit, the Cardinals have played the best this year. I think they ultimately maybe have the best quarterback in the division. It's kind of a debate on that front, frankly. But they're playing the best. They have the best team. Give me them to win. Sorry, I just keep getting Duolingo notifications that I'm getting bumped down in the rankings. I mean, who cares, right? I care a little bit, but I also don't. I can't even lie on that one. Cardinals, though, all we need is a win. Give them to me. I need sustenance in the form of a win. Give it to me. Cardinals, pick them. I'm taking it over the Seahawks. I just think the run game is going to do well. I think Kyler Murray's going to do well in this game. I think the defense will make just enough plays to get the win. That's my analysis. Over under 47.5. That's a fun over right there. That's a fun over. This one feels like an over. I don't know if I feel strong enough about that to bet it publicly, but I might ultimately bet that over the weekend. That's a fun over. Might be the funnest over on the slate. We'll see how this whole thing turns out. Eagles are at the Rams. This is a dandy in this one. Eagles are favored 3s across the board. This is your Sunday night game, a banger of a Sunday night game. Good job on NBC's front here on this one. Eagles are favored by 3. I would definitely lean the Eagles. I don't like the way the Rams are playing right now. I don't feel strongly enough about that to bet them in this game, though. Maybe my mind will change on that over the course of the next couple of days. I have a tough time seeing myself be swayed in that direction, though, when it's all said and done. Heavy lean to the Eagles, though, I suppose. you never count out Matt Stafford. I know the Eagles are playing well on defense at the moment, but you just never count out that offense, especially with all the weapons they have, offensive line getting healthy. I don't know. I just think it's going to be a great game. Over-under is 50 in most places, 50.5 over at FanDuel. Under is a real consideration here. I just don't know if they're going to score that many points in this game. I think this is billed as a big-time offensive game. But I think the biggest recipe for success for the Eagles is just running it down their throats and just eating them alive on the defensive side of the ball, just methodically working their way down the field. It's not a recipe for a whole lot of points. And I do think this Eagles defense matches up well with this Rams offense at the moment. It's a lot of really good weapons for the Rams, but a lot of really solid defenders for the Eagles on defense. I lean the Eagles quite heavily in this one, and I lean the under quite heavily as well. And we got the Harbaugh, baby. It's been too long since we had one of these. It's been many, many years since Jim Harbaugh was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. And now, once again, hey, John Harbaugh was just waiting for his brother Jim to come back to the NFL. He is still the head coach of the Ravens. The Ravens travel on the road to the Chargers this upcoming week. Woo! That was a doozy of a sentence. Ravens are favored by 3 across the board. Over-under is set at 50.5. Pretty much same. 50 across the board except for FanDuel. It's got a 50.5. Another big under consideration in this one just because this is Harbaugh football we're talking about here. As far as the game, I don't know if I'm going to bet this. The lean is to the Chargers, though, man. I don't know if they're going to win. They're going to be in this thing until the very, very end, and I think they have a real shot of winning this thing at the end. Heavy lean to the Chargers at +3. I have a feeling they're going to stay in this game. Maybe you get a push and they lose by 3. I have a feeling that they're just going to control the pace of this game. I think that running game is going to do well for the Chargers against this Ravens front 7. I just got a feeling that the Chargers got a real good shot of winning this upcoming game. Again, I told y'all, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers won this game, the Chiefs game, the Broncos game. I mean, really any of those games left in the schedule. Wouldn't be shocked one bit if they won any of them. And there's a reason they're only 3-point dogs. They have a real shot. Heavy lean to them in this one. Heavy lean and a slight lean to the under as well. With that said, what are we doing on time right now? Hour 17? Perfect. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. That's it. We're done. That is the NFL episode of Unqualified Analysis. And if you weren't aware, we do this thing twice a week. NFL on Tuesdays, college football on Thursdays. Sorry. Just went right into the outro. Forgot to add the other 2 picks for this upcoming weekend. So I got 2 in the college ranks. Took a quick look-see-doodle-doo through the entire slate in college. Through the first cursory look through, this is what we're thinking. Got 2 of them to add for you. So, first off, look, man, this might be a sucker line. This might move even farther in Ohio State's direction. I'm inclined to believe that will be the case throughout the course of this week. But, damn it, Indiana Hoosiers +12, 12.5 on the road at Ohio State. Give me them. I just think they're going to keep it close. I don't know if they're going to win, but damn it, I think they keep it within 10. Give me the Hoosiers +12.5. Let's go, Kurt. This is your audition for your next job, that being the Ohio State head football coach job. What do you got? What do you got, Kurt Cignetti? What do you got? That's the suckerest sucker line of all sucker lines, by the way. That's going to be like 80% of the public that I'm on with. Don't care. Kurt's dogs? Wrong team, but you know what I'm saying. Kurt's boys, hey, workmanlike. They're going to stay in this game. Trust me. They're going to stay in this game. Watch them lose by 40. And also, Colorado at Kansas, over 59.5. That's what I'm thinking in this game. Kansas sneakily. They're a 4-6 ball club, I do believe. They're playing some sneaky good football at the moment. They just beat BYU this past week. We'll talk about that one on Thursday. They're playing good offensive football. Jalen Daniels is really rounding into the form that we thought that he would have throughout the course of this season. He's getting it down the stretch. Better late than never, I suppose. They can still get bowl eligible. I'm probably not betting the spread in this game, but Colorado, They're going to score their points. We already know that. Kansas, I believe that they can score on this defense for Colorado. Give me the over at 59.5. I think that we're going to get some Big 12 magic in this game. So, with that, quick little recap of the games that we've added. We added Steelers minus 3.5 on Thursday night at the Browns. And Cardinals money line, not pick 'em. We got money line because that was the better odds at minus 105. Got a money line at the Seahawks. Hoosiers, Indiana, plus 12.5 at Ohio State. And then we got Colorado, Kansas, over 59.5. Those are our ads. We'll probably add 3, 4, 5 more coming up here on Thursday. But with that, yes, thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. Tuesday, we got NFL. Thursday, we got college football. Wherever you're listening to this, though, any old platform you're listening to this, subscribe, share with 15 to 16 dozen of your closest buddy boys that you can find. Subscribe, rate, share, all that sort of good stuff, yada, yada, yada. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I have got no clue what I'm talking about. I hit on the wrong notepad entry. But one thing I learned this week, Superman was actually the first superhero comic. Every other superhero is based off of him. Now, this may seem intuitively obvious to many of you out there. I'm embarrassed to say that I just learned that this week. Sorry. I do apologize. As I like to say, I'm kind of stupid sometimes. But you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. With that said, I'm going to go watch some football and get this thing edited. You all have a wonderful next couple of days. I will talk to you all on Thursday. See ya.